Yolanda wants content for this show, but she got to stop scheduling all these police murders.
We can't hear you.
Sybil, you're still muted. Sybil, you see it says mute. It says mute by your name.
Unmute.
You're muted. There we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to What You Need to Know Headlines. It is Monday and feeling like a Monday. It is April 26th.
You can't hear
Not August. You can't hear me now?
Mm-mm.
You still can't hear me?
I can hear you.
We hear you.
Okay. Thank you. And happy birthday to two of our favorite people. Happy birthday to Barbara Dunn Harrington. And interestingly enough, also, it is our friend Stacy, the boxing coach. It's his birthday too. Hello, darling. Stacy McKinley's birthday. Yeah.
You talking about Miss Barbara that always had a luggage with her?
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Those are two of my favorite people right there.
And born on the same day. How different could two people be, right, Huggy?
So very different.
So very different, yes. So here we are on this Monday and a lot going on. Just this afternoon, we got reports on the first report on the census. Remember the census that we just bugged the living daylights out of you to fill out and to return last year, 2020 census? Mm-hmm. This is why. Texas, according to the latest or the most updated figures from the census, Texas has gained Congress seats and California has lost for the very first time. America's population growth is declining to its lowest rate since the Great Depression. The Census Bureau said the nation's political center of gravity keeps shifting further to the south. That is the Republican South and West, by the way. Texas, Florida, and other Sunbelt states are gaining congressional seats as chillier states like New York and Ohio are losing theirs. And so, guys, I was wondering if you were amongst those who was harangued to fill out your census reports, and did you? And this is why it was so important, because of congressional representation, because of the representation in your state government as well, and the way the lines are drawn. This is going to make a big difference in the next year or two or three, especially as we go through reapportionment. Anybody have anything you'd like to explain why you did or did not fill out your census?
Well, I did mine, and this is why the Republicans, the disinformation was out there to get people to not fill it out. Like it didn't matter what nationality you were, it didn't matter your income, it didn't matter if you were even legal. You're supposed to do the census so they can take care, first and foremost, your community. Right. So you take care of your schools, they can take care of your roads and everything. But they try to scare people into not filling those out, and now look what happens. They pick up seats.
Yep. That's exactly right, CP. It's one of those situations now we're paying the price for it. And especially last year, as we were talking to a member of our staff, and Cherie was saying, well, they were telling you to fill it out, and then they said they were going to stop it, and then they picked it up, and then they stopped it again early before it was supposed to be due, and a lot of confusion surrounding this.
Mm-hmm. Did you do yours, Huggy?
Huggy?
Hell yeah.
You look real guilty.
I know. That's why I was looking. I was like, Huggy?
I thought your shit froze. I was like, what you saying now? Why y'all looking at me like I didn't fill out my shit? Am I that dude?
Yeah, you kind of are.
Come on, Sybil.
It's
the census. It makes sense to us.
Look at you. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
I guess.
What about you, our social activist, young Coy Malone?
Yes, definitely. I filled mine out. I wanted to make sure that this area gets the resources that it needs. And I wanted that to be able to count for the Black and brown people that live in this area, because where I live in this section of Atlanta, it's thought that there's not a lot of Black and brown people in this area, which is a large misconception. We're highly misrepresented when it comes to resources and things like having better schools and just access to education and things that we need in our community.
Right.
Well, but Coy's census got thrown out because she counted plants as residents of her home.
Residential plants.
Right. They're not people, Coy. They're not people.
I had to count my dependents.
Well, that's okay, because I filled it out for folks that are no longer living in my house in Chicago. But that's all right. That's neither here nor there.
That's the Chicago way.
It is. It really is, Chris. You're absolutely right.
Ain't that a
Absolutely right.
Blagojevich?
Which is just fun to say, isn't it? Even though he's no longer our governor or in prison as
Yeah,
of
but
right now.
they moving like he moved though.
I know, right? For the first time in 170 years of statehood, California is losing a congressional seat. This is a result of people not moving to California. Still the nation's most populous state, but they're slowing down. This was, going out west, the wild, wild west, going out to California, and that was the place to be, to Beverly. And no, they're saying that those shifts have been westward, but Colorado, Montana, and Oregon have all added residents and gained seats. And they say that Texas was the biggest winner, but California by far the biggest loser there compared to what it has been doing over the years. Texas, Florida, and North Carolina are states that are adding 4 seats in the United States Congress.
Well, it's too expensive to live in California. Everybody's leaving California and going to places like Washington State. They're going to Oregon. They're going everywhere where it's cheaper.
And where marijuana is legal.
Can I still smoke and have a house that I can afford?
Right.
Well, definitely. Well, smoke or afford a house. You got to pick one, I think, in states like Texas. So sorry about that. This is another byproduct of police shooting Black people, and still talking about the case of Andrew Brown Jr. This is the Black man in North Carolina who was fatally shot by North Carolina deputies. And the family of Andrew Brown Jr. saw a small, Attorney Ben Crump said, a snippet of the video who was fatally shot last week. They saw a 20-second snippet of the police body camera footage. The 42-year-old Andrew Brown was fatally shot by the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department in Elizabeth City, North Carolina on Wednesday. Details of the shooting are still rather sketchy, but they wanted to get a look at this video. A copy of his death certificate says that he died as a result of penetrating gunshot wound to the head. Died within minutes of being shot. The certificate categorizes his death as a homicide, saying that he was shot by others.
What I say, every week we get together, Sybil.
Yeah, I know.
Every week we do this. You're like Angela Lansbury. every single week there is the murder of a Black person we got to open up this show with. It is crazy.
Yeah.
And what others? What others are they talking about when it was police that was serving a warrant? Who's the others?
Well, certainly for the category of the death certificate, it doesn't necessarily indicate that it was done by police, but it wasn't a self-inflicted wound, is what they're saying.
And there's like what it's already open and shut. I mean, based on what they saw in 20 seconds, the brother had his hands on the steering wheel.
Yep.
And they're opening fire on him. Where do they teach that at in the police manual?
And that's the crazy thing. Shot him in the back. The back of his head, in his back. These multiple shots. The county attorney said that they were blurring some faces on the video before showing the family that snippet, I guess. He said the law also allows us to blur some faces on the video, and that process takes time. This may be done when necessary to protect an active internal investigation. And as soon as those redactions are complete, we will allow the family to view this footage. This is what they're dealing with. And of course, this is also the case where numerous people have been reassigned to quit and one retired. And so this is a case that has a lot of questions still to be answered in the murder of Andrew Brown Jr.
We all knew it was some bullshit before they release the 20-second, well, they didn't release it, before they show the family the 20-second snippet.
Yeah.
They declare a state of emergency. Because you already know what's going to happen. You already know what in that 20 seconds could possibly do to fuel the fire in the community tonight.
Absolutely.
Right.
You're right.
Terrible.
In 20 seconds.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And this is a case where they were going to serve a warrant. He was in his car. He tried to, and the way the daughter explained it, that he was backed into his driveway. And so there were cops behind him, right? And so he couldn't really get out. And so that's when they shot. So the more details that come out, the more alarming it is. And I feel sorry for the people in Elizabeth City. This is a lovely little community from what you could tell, and the press conference that was held by the city government was far different than what we're hearing from the county sheriff's department, and a primarily Black head of the city department, the mayor, the city manager, and the chief of police. And so we will have more information as that becomes available. All right, let us go to this trending video. I absolutely love this. And you may remember, or when you look at this young man, you may say, where do I know that? Where do I know that face? This is Devin Still. And let's take a look at his video, and then we'll talk about where you may know him from. Or not. The Devin Still, the little girl eating.
Get you. That's terrible.
Wow.
That's me.
That's terrible.
She got older. She grew up.
And that was what he said in his Instagram post as well. He said she got to learn.
Wow.
She's just a little bitty girl, but she got to learn. You know, and just because you know you're near the food doesn't mean that you're offered the food, and you got to get your own sometimes, little girl.
I thought she was gonna smack that spoon a lot sooner.
I don't play with food. I don't play with that. I don't play like
everybody
that.
Know that.
I know. To me, that's abusive. That's
So Devin Still is the former NFL
football player, right?
Football,
yeah.
Right. So you may remember him. He and his oldest daughter, Leah. Leah had neuroblastoma. He was playing, I think Chris and Huggy remind me.
I think the Bengals, right?
With the Bengals,
yeah.
right?
Right.
And so he decided to put aside his football career, and he'd been on the practice squad and off and had made the rounds of teams. And so he said, you know, for the health of his daughter while she was going through this, he was going to step away from football. And they made an effort to keep them on their insurance. So as she was going through her cancer treatments, and other football teams picked up because they had his jerseys that they sold, and numerous other teams did this as well and sold it and sent the money for cancer treatment, for pediatric cancer treatment. Leah is now a young lady. That is his second daughter. That is Aria, that he was having the little moment with the food. And so just a really sweet moment, and glad to see that. And
now we got to raise money for his young daughter to get her some food. She's not being fed around there.
Own box of cereal.
Right.
Melissa on Facebook, Melissa Nelson said, my mom did something like that to me and I bit her. Or
right
that's
on.
how she tells the story anyway.
well, we see the little picture there of a pit bull and shit.
Melissa biting the hand that feeds her or used to feed her. So Chris, I wanted to play that. I also wanted to ask a little bit about your adventures with your daughter last week. If you could share a little bit about that.
We drove up to New York to go visit one of the schools she's considering for college. And then on the New Jersey Turnpike, I mean, my wife and I, my daughter's asleep in the back, and my wife and I, we are having a good time up front. I'm DJing, and all of a sudden she changed lanes, and there was a pothole there.
Oh.
The tire hit the pothole. Tire blew up. We are broken down right on the New Jersey Turnpike. Right,
Yikes.
right in between a little median in between the main lanes and one merging lane. So if you ever drove the New Jersey Turnpike, you know the cars are going. Yeah, it's 150 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Fast and Furious out there. I think I saw Tyrese drive by at one point, and Vin Diesel. But we can't get out of there because it turns out we're talking to my AAA members. I didn't even have AAA anymore. I joined again just because I got on my phone on the app and paid $102 to sign up for AAA again because my insurance company was like, we can't get him out of there.
Scared as shit, bro. So
I have Geico and AAA working on it, but as it turns out, you can't call a tow truck on the New Jersey Turnpike. They can't. A regular tow truck cannot go there. They have emergency tow trucks.
Oh.
So after about 2 hours, we got we had to call the police. They sent a tow truck. The police officer came and got behind us and put his lights on. So we're like, okay, we're safe. He came out, young black dude, came to the window. Okay, I called the tow truck. Went and got back in the car and left us.
Damn.
So now we're back to potential roadkill.
Yeah.
But finally, a tow truck driver came. This is how they don't give any Fs. Tow truck driver came, pulled in front of us, lowered his bed, tilted it up. My wife was driving, told her to drive up the back of it.
Yeah.
Bro, have you ever seen a tow truck driver tell you to drive on it? Drive onto my truck.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, he's got the chain to hook it up.
Right.
I didn't tell you about the one time I was a tow truck driver, bro.
No.
Got fired, bro.
Bro, he had us drive up the back of his
More
truck.
importantly, Chris Paul, what the fuck were you playing?
that had
You was DJing.
driving off the road into a pothole.
What was you playing? What was the last thing you heard on that radio when you was playing, bro?
I remember I was playing. It was a rock and roll playlist.
Oh, so
I think I was playing some Motley Crue. I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
She said, "No, I'm not."
Home sweet home.
No, I'm not.
That's what that brother said when he looked at you.
Now, Huggy mentioned something about a dog.
Yeah, I had my dog with me.
Oh, so
Dog shit in the car.
I'm gonna tell you about this piece of shit. He sent me a picture of it.
I sent you a picture of it, didn't I?
You sure did. I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
So this I wanted to be, at one point, my career was really booming, right? So my career is really booming. I was doing Tom Joyner.
This motherfucker done turned it into an unsung, Chris.
I was doing Tom Joyner. I was also hosting an ESPN morning show here in DC. Right. I'm doing stand-up around the country. So I said, you know what? I'm going to buy myself a ridiculously expensive car.
And
which I did. But when you buy a ridiculously expensive car and you blow a fucking tire, that's your ass.
You know you ain't about that life, for real.
No more.
Nobody has a tire for my car,
right?
Especially at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night in New York.
That's a real fucking expensive car.
We were hostage. We were hostage in New York City. We finally got the tire fixed on Tuesday. They were able to find some place that could fix that could replace my tire. So,
Chris.
Yeah, you might as well hang it up and go out for a drink.
Well, I told him not to buy that fucking RAV4.
He was balling, wasn't he, Hug?
I told him not to do it. He had to have it.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Chris. Did your daughter enjoy the college visit?
She did. She enjoyed it.
Good. Well, I'm glad, and I love the relationship that you guys have and taking your daughter on the college tour and stuff. But I'm sorry about what happened as a result of that. But made for a great story.
And the good news is we got to eat in New York City for 3 days. You've never been in New York,
which is what was that? Almost as expensive as the tire.
Yes. Yes.
Of the
they never got the tire, Sybil. They came home with a donut, but they ate good as a motherfucker.
And the hotel, the Hilton we're at charges $100 for the dog fee. If you have a dog, it's $100 a night. I let that dog shit everywhere. I'm paying for it. I'm paying for this. Go ahead and piss if you want to.
We've already paid for it.
Right, we paid $100 up front for this. Man, I shit in the room. $100.
Oh man.
Oh my God. Okay.
You're disgusting, bro.
You know what?
I'm gonna send you a picture of that one too.
Of the dog in the car and the hotel room.
And me, yeah.
Okay. It's time for us to check out What You Need to Know newsletter, and we'll start in terms of politics. They had a special election in the state of Louisiana, specifically in the area of New Orleans, and they have a new congressman to fill the seat that was vacated by Cedric Richmond, who left Congress in order to be a special advisor to Joe Biden. He's in the West Wing. Cedric Richmond is a former Louisiana congressman. So the special election to fill the second congressional seat vacated by Mr. Richmond has been filled. Louisiana State Senator Troy Carter won the runoff election on Saturday against fellow state Senator Karen Carter Peterson. And Mr. Carter is now Congressman-elect Carter is a fairly mainstream Democratic congressman. He got the support of Richmond, who was vacating the seat as well, who had vacated, as well as our friend Majority Whip Jim Clyburn of South Carolina. The young woman who was running against him, who was also his colleague in the state Senate, she is a more progressive member of the Democratic Party, Karen Carter Peterson, and she was given the support of people like Elizabeth Warren, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as well as Stacey Kemp. Stacey Kemp went out on, I think it was on Instagram that I was watching them Saturday, as they were encouraging people to go out and vote to get to the polls on Saturday. And on Instagram Live, and talking about the ways that she is trying to get the vote and what she stood for. Well, it wasn't enough, and actually, Mr. Carter was already first place during the election that preceded the runoff. He just didn't get the 50% needed in order to avoid the runoff. So he is now your congressman-elect in New Orleans, and this is the area extending from New Orleans up the Mississippi River into Baton Rouge, into the Red Stick. So congratulations to him. And now the folks in New Orleans have and this is the only Democratic-controlled seat in Congress from the state of Louisiana. All the rest just surrounded by Republican seats. Wow. And it'll be interesting to see how, and bringing it back to what we talked about at the beginning, how this will all turn out and how Louisiana will benefit or not from the census and the numbers that come out from that state. Now, to get back to, I wanted to go to some good news because we're back to the shootings that have overwhelmed the headlines. And you guys, in the 24 hours since the verdict came out about the Derek Chauvin case, they had 6 shootings or killings by police of Black people. And this is, on top of this is Adam Toledo. This is the young boy who's 13 years old, killed by Chicago police in the middle of the night and in March. And they said that he had a gun in his hand and that he was absolutely able to, he had a gun in his hand. And what the video showed was that he dropped the gun. And in that split second, and the police shot him. And there's a big investigation into that. 30 minutes after the Derek Chauvin case, as we've been talking about, 16-year-old Makia Bryant was shot 4 times by the police with a knife, as she was going for an older girl that she was being bullied by another woman, and or a group of women. And then, of course, we talked about Andrew Brown Jr.
How come police lying about the events of a death? How come that's not a felony? Like, look at the statement that was released by the police after George Floyd was killed.
Mm-hmm.
That he died. It was a medical incident on the way to the hospital.
Right.
Like, you think about something like that should be a flat. If you lied to the police,
that's a felony.
It's a felony.
Yeah.
So the police being able to make a statement that is 100% false about the death of a human being should also be a felony.
Yes.
Young Adam Toledo having a gun, that's a flat out lie.
Yes.
That's a flat out lie. You didn't even think he had a gun looking at that video.
That's right.
You didn't have a phone or anything. And he just whatever.
And coming up and concocting, making stuff up, making ish up.
Right. There are actual spin rooms.
Yeah.
And every police headquarters has a little spin room where they all get together and come up with the best,
Mm-hmm.
How can we spin this? The death of an unarmed person of color and to cover our ass.
Yep.
It's all PR.
Okay, Chris, I'm not going to make you happy. You might need to toke on something or take a sip of something because now it's time for Coy to tell us about her social justice story. And this is even crazier. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, we get to a level of just disbelief. Coy, hit it.
Yikes. So
it's crazy.
No laughing matter. There is a young man in Virginia by the name of Isaiah Brown, 30, who was just given a ride home by the police. He was a stranded motorist. Police responded to a disabled motorist call. Police gave him a ride home. Not too long later, about an hour later, he placed another 911 call because he was having an argument with his brother. While on the phone, he's, telling his brother, I'm looking for a gun. He was demanding a gun. The dispatcher asked him, well, do you have a gun? Did you get a gun? He said, no, I'm leaving the home. He's going back towards his car. He tells this to the dispatcher. So police are dispatched to the location while he's walking outside. Mind you, he's on a house phone. And I want to say it was a corded house phone, older house phone. He's holding it up to his head. As the police officer approaches him, he says that he has a gun to his head, to put the gun down. He keeps repeating this. Then he shoots this man 10 times and then proceeds to continue telling him to drop the gun, put his hands up. Come to find out, another officer that arrives on the scene looks and says, where's the gun? Where's the gun? Here we are, another instance of an unarmed Black person shot by police excessively who is not armed. The officer, here's the kicker, the officer that shot him is the officer that just gave him a ride home. Can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
And the house cell phone, the house cordless phone.
A cordless phone. Hand. Or actually it was a cordless phone that was in his hand. Yes. And my thing is why, even if it was a gun and a gun to his head, why would you shoot him? Why is that the proper action or the proper move? Why are we not afforded de-escalation tactics? That's the thing that I'm seeing that's common across the board of all the police shootings that we've seen, at least within the last week. There are no de-escalation tactics that are afforded to us. Yet we've seen numerous videos come out, even within the last week, the last 2 weeks, of others, including especially white people, that have accosted the police. They have assaulted the police. They have stabbed the police. They have driven off with their truck with the police officer hanging from the window. And there's all kinds of de-escalation tactics that are employed during those situations. But when it comes to somebody that is us, bang. That's it.
That's it. It's
not fair.
And what other occupation would people close ranks like that? And if someone murdered someone, what other occupation? Maybe military, maybe, but what other occupation could we kill somebody and then everybody, if I killed somebody 5 years ago, would everybody at the TJMS be like, we got to cover for Chris Paul?
Tom would. I can't speak for me and Huggy, but Tom would.
I don't know. Tom would talk about me on the radio. He'd blow my whole case. He tell Jay, Chris Paul did it this time, didn't he? He did it this time.
I got you, CP.
I got your back, bro.
That's right. I swear for God and 3-4 other people. I promise we got you. But you're absolutely right. I'm trying to think of who it was. I want to say it was the congresswoman from Florida, the former police chief, and she was saying, Val Demings.
Val Demings.
She was talking about the case in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, with Ma'Khia Bryant, and so she was saying that the way that this officer responded is the way that they are trained. So, Coy, to your point, talking about de-escalation, they have to be retrained about this whole de-escalation stuff, because or process. I don't want to call it stuff, but the process of bringing down the mood, because that's what I thought too with this guy. I thought, you got these girls with the knife and all the crazy. What makes you not say, okay, all right, stop it? Who called? What's going on? Put the knife down. If you don't, I'm going to tase you. But the first thing you are taught to do in policeman school is to pull out your gun and shoot.
Right, but that gets thrown out the window. That gets thrown out the window in the other videos Coy just mentioned that are all viral right now of white people losing their minds with the cops, and they don't pull the trigger.
They don't.
Right.
Absolutely right.
There was even one with the
privilege.
So do they have to be told, these are black people, don't shoot first? That has to be a part of the education process for our police?
I think so.
Because I don't know but here's the point that I'm trying to make, Coy. Can you re-educate prejudice and the way white police feel about black people?
Right. That's going to be a hard thing to do, because this is something
that's
time and time again.
Laugh, but that's a pretty high bar.
I watched a documentary on Netflix recently about police in Los Angeles, and it was showing them during their training process and how they would respond to situations with black people. Mind you, the captains and what have you that were training these recruits were not telling them to immediately shoot. They told them to consort amongst themselves and figure out, how would you respond to this particular situation? And time again, most of the recruits said that the first thing they would do was shoot. This is not something that they were taught. This is something that they came up with as a collective conclusion on how to handle these situations when it came to black people. And there were very few that protested what was going on and disagreed with it. However, this was just the general consensus of what should happen when it comes to black people. And it's just unfortunate, because there are other tactics that are taught, from what I understand from police that I know and other persons that know police. They have all said the same things, that they are taught to disarm and they are taught to de-escalate. That's just not what happens with black people. What's the point of having a taser if that's the case?
Or a body cam.
Or pepper spray.
Or a body cam.
What's the point?
Coy, let's talk about, in order to bring us down, because we are in the midst of many of us still quarantining. Every day we're going through these stories about the murders of black folks, and especially not unknown to us now, the police murders of black folks. And so let's try to bring it down and talk about your story that's going to be in tomorrow's newsletter, and dealing with a check-in, if you will, for people in our lives. A lot of us have text chains, and a lot of us, will do Zoom calls with our family and friends on a weekly basis. But in tomorrow's newsletter, you talk about this of asking black people, are we okay? If I can just read a little bit of this. In addition to dealing with hardships due to the pandemic, including the deaths of loved ones and iconic figures and a resurgence in gun violence, black people are constantly dealing with institutionalized racism and the growing number of disproportionate cases of brutality, murders at the hands of police. And all these things going on simultaneously, it raises a concern for us as a whole. Are we okay? Are we asking the right questions of ourselves and each other? And are we doing it on a regular enough basis? And I'm asking you guys, are you doing this on a regular basis in terms of checking in with folks? And I will say that, I have a number of text chains some that, with people that I've worked with in the past, and we all got fired. And so we're, trying to check in with each other, seeing how we're doing more than a year later, and then their family members and what have you. Are you all involved in checking on others, or others checking on you?
Well, not as much as I should. Speaking for myself, not as much as I should, but I need to. Because we on top of our own we trying to stay on top of our own shit,
Right.
not even thinking about shit other people, which is not selfish, but I mean, I don't know.
That's pretty selfish.
But that right there is
It is.
revealing. But that's revealing that Huggy needs somebody to check on him.
Yeah.
The fact that he doesn't feel up to checking on other people, that means you need to be checked on.
That speaks to it, Chris. That's exactly right. Because when you aren't feeling good about yourself, how compelled are you to check on others?
Here's me and Huggy checking on each other at 11:30 at night. I call him, nigga, you fucked up? Yeah, I'm fucked up. Right.
Me too, bro.
Are you fucked up? Yeah, I'm fucked up. All right.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
That's me and him checking on each other.
Can I suggest another way of doing that?
No.
Let's try this.
The shit's been working, Sybil. Leave us alone.
Oh, you don't want any help? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So Coy, how are you?
I'm all right, but it's still tough. It's every day, like we say, every day is something, and it gets to a point now where, and I'm already involved in this. I've been involved in social justice and activism for many years. It's to the point now where I'm actively not only reporting on this daily and sharing these stories. It gets to the point where I'm looking at so many stories at once, and I'm like, which one do I report on? Which one is more important than the other? Which one is something that people need to know about that isn't getting, its due shine and press? And I hate to call it shine. Which one needs a little bit more traction and awareness with us that's not highly publicized?
I think awareness is the key. Yeah. And how do you say one above the other? Because you don't know how it's going to strike a particular person. That particular theme or situation is going to strike people, and to get the information when they need it.
And it's so many, and I've even noticed myself having just a level of anxiety and awareness about these situations to where I'm concerned about not only myself in certain situations. For instance, last week I was at a grocery store leaving. I see a car full of young Latino men, and I see them stop and they're staring, and I'm like, what are they staring at? And then I look across the parking lot, and it's an officer that's parked right here, and they're staring at one another. And my first inclination was to get out and leave because I don't know what's going on between these two. And upon going to another grocery store, as I'm getting out of my car, I see just somebody approaching from behind, and I slam my door so hard, not knowing what's going on. He's approaching me, and I turn and I look, and it's a Black man. Not to say that I'm afraid of Black men, because I'm not. I'm very comfortable around Black men and brown men. I'm actually more worried when, yeah, I am. They don't worry me. I get worried when I'm surrounded by more white people than anything, or police. And that just went to show me the level of anxiety that I had just because I saw police interacting with other young men and not knowing what was going on. I find myself in those situations. I find myself worrying about Black men that I know, or my family, or even in my relationship. I, check on him and I tell him, to be safe. I get worried when he leaves, and I get worried about him, coming back safely. The same with my parents, my nieces, my nephews. It's just something that I've had to start checking in about with myself, just with the climate of everything that's going on.
But who checks on you, Coy?
Some people do check on me. My parents check on me. I have some friends that check on me every now and then. I have contacts that I'm associated with, on social media and stuff like that. It has, I want to say, increased over this time. There was a time during the pandemic where I felt like I was alone. It was just me and my plants. That was it.
And which they have grown just beautifully as a result of you all being in there together.
And me talking their ears off.
Yeah. And so let's put that out there. And if you haven't checked on people lately, do. Let's start. And if you feel the need to, for people to check in on you, you might have to be the one to extend that olive branch, that arm, that ear initially, in order to initiate the conversation and because my mom used to say to have good friends, you have to be a good friend. So to have people check on you, you might have to be the one to start out checking on others and see how that works out. But we do need to check on each other and ask how
if people
are we
check
doing.
on you, get on your goddamn nerve though, Sybil?
Say what? Say that again, sir.
What about the people that's checking on you, get on your goddamn nerves?
Okay, then it's a short call. I'm good.
How many minutes on the phone checking in with someone before you hit them up for money? Like, what's a respectful amount? Should it be like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to say?
Well,
I'm just making sure you're all right.
Making sure you're all right. Making sure you're all right, brother. Hey,
if they repeat it 2 times, brother, it's something behind that shit.
Then
I'm just making sure you're all right. Making sure you're all right, brother.
They ask you how you doing, and you say good. You say good, brother. How are you? He said, man, I'm good. My tire blew out in New York, and I'm trying to get it fixed. I don't quite have the money for it right now. Yeah, I'm trying to find me about $700 or $800 somewhere.
Yeah.
We gotta eat for the next 3 days.
And then you say, you know what? I'm looking for that same $700, $800.
They stopped making that tire during the COVID, man. They don't make it.
And I'm gonna pray for you.
In other words, don't check in on somebody and fuck around and get blocked. All I did was check on Huggy. Now I can't get through.
Shoot.
Damn.
And be careful what time of night, because you never know how that conversation's gonna go. So
no, you can't check on people during those questionable times of the hour, like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm just checking on you, brother. You on drugs.
Man, J. Anthony Brown is so cool, man. He called my wife at 3 a.m. checking on her, bro. He said he was just hoping that she was all right and I was out of town.
Well, he always was hands-on, bro. He was always hands-on. Always a good friend.
That is so true.
Send us some hot sauce on. How long, Chris?
New flavor, harder than a mofo.
Oh golly, yeah, that's RJ. Watch out there now. That means more than you think that it does.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are as we've come to the end of what you need to know, and let us move to the question of the day. Let's see. I think it was the 2 female leads from the Martin TV show have recently announced there will not be a Martin reboot.
Damn.
No. Oh no. So if that is not going to be a reboot, let me ask you guys, what TV show would you like to see?
Good times.
Good times. Okay.
Yeah.
So
you need a Ouija board for that, by the way.
Oh, that's right.
No,
not with the originals, apparently.
Hey, we might need to combine Good Times and the fucking Jefferson. Oh shit, you need 2 Ouija boards, right?
All right.
Or is
and
that
don't forget
a
Archie
Wheezy
Bunker's
board?
place. A Wheezy board.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the day the actor who played Carl on Good Times asked for a raise. And what happened in that next script? remember they had a big party for Carl.
They killed the shit out of Carl.
And then he was
dang.
gone. He's gone.
I think Brooklyn pushed him out the window or something. Right there.
Buffalo butt.
Right.
Buffalo Butt pushed him right out the window. JJ had a paint of that shit too, bro.
Remember, JJ got a job in corporate America. He's wearing suits and a fucking denim hat.
Right. The
What is wrong with y'all?
wearing the bucket hat.
A bucket hat with his business suit. What the
Cabrini
hell?
Green's finest, bro. Cabrini Green's finest, bro.
Oh gosh. Only on Good
But
Times.
reboot Living Single.
Yeah, that's what
I can see that.
That's the one
Right.
I was thinking of too. I would like to see that, and certainly all of the characters could come back, not necessarily living single anymore, or maybe they are living single again.
When they come back, though, they film it on the set of Friends.
That's for sure.
That was a nicer brownstone that they had on living
Right.
single.
Somebody said Cosby Show. Okay, that's about 10 years down the road.
Look,
Manuel Murphy on
his name
Facebook.
is Manuel. Manuel Murphy said that shit.
Yeah.
Said Cosby Show? Question mark.
Heathcliff Huxtable is now a bartender.
You said what?
Spanish Fly is us.
I said Heathcliff Huxtable is now a bartender.
Oh my god!
The hell?
I feel like they should reboot.
It's a different world.
Wanda says a different world on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to see that too.
Yeah, that'll be good.
So would that be a different world with Denise or without? Because Denise was in and out, and then she, so. Or would this be the kids of? Because this show would be a different world, even with Zoe, who is Denise's daughter. Her real life daughter is Zoe, and so I'm just wondering how you would play all of that.
I forgot Jada was on Different World too, right?
Jada was, yeah. Think of all those generations, that generation of people, and went on to Bigger Living Color.
That's what I was gonna say. There was
Color.
no show like that. That show pushed the envelope when it came to making fun of what was going on in the news, making people aware of what was going on politically. It was a mostly all Black cast. They gave Jim Carrey his start where people didn't believe in him. And this show that was headed by Black people, by a Black family, gave him his start. Plus, they had wonderful
Are you Jim
guests.
Carrey's publicist?
But that was on that time though. You that was groundbreaking at that time.
It was groundbreaking.
What's pushing the envelope now?
Exactly. That was my question.
What's shocking now?
Coy.
What's shocking now, Coy?
Where would they go? What would they do in terms of? I mean, it's not even like doing it in the nude or anything like that, because everybody sees everything and they do everything.
They leave the door wide
Instagram.
open.
Yeah.
Right. True.
They could reboot Family Matters with Urkel sells marijuana now.
They got that purple.
Right, that purple Urkel on there, right?
Yeah, that purple.
They let he and Carl go around selling weed.
Yeah. Girlfriends. I would love to see that, Renita. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then on Facebook says Girlfriends. That would be great.
How about Reboot Seinfeld and let Kramer just say nigger? Let him every time he busts in Jerry's apartment, my nigga.
and have more Black people on either of those shows, like Seinfeld or Friends, right?
Right.
They need to reboot In the House.
So was that LL Cool J?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and Maya Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. And Debbie Allen.
Mm-hmm. and LOA and Maya Campbell. God bless her. Who do you see doing that, Coy? D Wade one says New York Undercover.
Yeah.
Did they try to do that? Did they try to bring New York Undercover back?
I think what's the dude name? What's the dude name they used to say had the ashy lips all the time?
Malik
Yoba. No, they did. Really? It was a good reason.
Yeah.
I want to say they tried to do that, or talking about it anyway.
Yeah, it was Malik Yoba and Tekashi 6ix9ine.
What's happening, Joe? Macklemore on Facebook says that's what he would like to see. What's happening?
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun. Oh, Dennis Dragon 78 on YouTube says reboot the TJMS. So let me ask you, do you want the same people back, or do you want new people in our seats?
Don't answer that shit.
I have a seat. Shoot. That's what I hope. I'm ready for the cruise. I want to go. That would be
I know,
great.
Right?
There was no show like the Tom Joyner in the Morning Show. I love that show growing up.
Well, see, that's
What about Fantasy Island or the Love Boat?
The plane. But would that be politically? Oh, I guess. But Black Three's Company, says Joe. Okay.
Ooh.
This nigga smoking weed. He's spitting them out. He's smoking weed. A Black Three Company. That should have last 1 month. That should have last 1 month, man.
Right.
Black Threes Company. Shit, man.
I think it would now be known as Sister Wives Part 2.
Right. Black Threes Company, man.
They should reboot the Wayans brothers.
Oh, that's a good one. And maybe
Pops.
Yeah, I know. Maybe they could dedicate the building to him or something. I might have just gave away $1 million idea.
No, you didn't.
No.
Don't dash my dreams.
I'm sorry. No.
I hate to do that.
You know what, Coy? Work on that.
Yeah.
Work on that. Okay? Work
No,
on
she need to work on resoiling that fucking plant. That was awful, boy. Fucking awful.
Oh, God.
No, that was good, Corey. That was good.
Okay. All right. So great suggestions for the reboot, and that might be something we'll revisit and let Coy work on her ideas a little bit more. Let them ferment a little bit, young Coy. All right. So now it is time for entertainment, and let's talk about last night's Oscars. Yeah. It was probably the blackest Oscars we've ever seen. From production staff to the music director was
Questlove.
Thanks. Yeah, Questlove. All of the people doing the red carpet. If you saw them on television, Lil Rel Howery.
Lil Rel.
Yeah, and then him doing his bit, and yet it was probably the intentions were great, but the lowest numbers in recorded history.
Wow, they're gonna blame
for
that
last
shit on the
night.
black people. They're gonna blame that on the blacks.
Yep.
Oh,
but the black people were not let out of some of the goodies and the winnings that they had in the awarding of the Oscars last night. It had some favorite speeches. Tyler Perry accepted the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award, and he was absolutely fabulous, telling these stories and invoking his mother and the memory of his mother, who taught him about giving and things like that. It was a great speech. And for the very first time, Black women were nominated and received the first Oscar for given to a Black woman for hairstyling and makeup. And that was for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And just want you to hear a little bit of Mia Neal's acceptance speech. She and Jamaica Wilson were the first Black women.
I was raised by my grandfather, James Holland. He was an original Tuskegee Airman. He represented the U.S. in the first Pan Am Games. He went to Argentina. He met Evita. He graduated from Northwestern University at a time that they did not allow Blacks to stay on campus, so he stayed at the YMCA. And after all of his accomplishments, he went back to his hometown in hopes of becoming a teacher, but they did not hire Blacks in the school system. So I want to say thank you to our ancestors who put the work in, were denied, but never gave up. And I also stand here as Jamaica and I break this glass ceiling with so much excitement for the future. Because I can picture Black trans women standing up here, and Asian sisters, and our Latina sisters, and Indigenous women. And I know that one day it won't be unusual or groundbreaking. It will just be normal.
Amen. That was great.
So that was powerful. Okay. I
great.
love the history thing and all of that. I absolutely, Mia, you had me from, my grandfather, the Tuskegee Airman. But I'm also at the same time thinking, are Jamaica and the white dude going to be able to speak? Because their folks are at home too, and wanting to hear from them.
That happened a couple times. That happened.
I thought her speech was amazing, but I just was, and I wondered that several times as groups of people were called up to receive their awards, and only one person got to speak for the most part.
John Batiste. That's his name.
Anybody think anything about that?
John Batiste. He won for the song for Soul, and he went up there with two people, and he talked about how great collaboration is.
That was Trent Reznor.
Right, he was talking about how great collaboration is and working with, and then they didn't get to speak. I'm like, damn, it was just him thanking everybody, and he wanted to thank. Like Sybil just said, everybody's got family and kids they want to speak to, so that's a tough one. That's a tough one right there.
Yeah, it was the blackest Oscar though, Sybil. I heard they had like Crown Royal in the gift bag.
The gift bag was Crown Royal. Sybil can't hear us.
I can't. Now I'm getting a reverb. Yeah.
Well, lucky for you, it's 8 o'clock.
I can't.
The
hear.
good old reverb trick, huh?
Now I hear you, Hug. Okay,
Oh,
so
really?
I don't, yeah. so watch your language. Watch your language.
Story of my
I'm sorry
life.
I missed that, CP.
It's
I'm
all right.
sure it was brilliant.
It was.
It
No big
was.
deal.
It was brilliant.
It was okay.
I still can't hear Chris. I can hear Huggy, and I still can't
We was
hear
talking
Chris.
about how black the Oscars were.
Oh,
They said they had
kudos
Crown
to-
Royal in a gift bag.
All
You
right,
didn't hear me, Chris.
So before we get out of here, I do want to give a shout out to the Wade family. I had an opportunity to meet them yesterday. I was out for the last 2 days with Black Voters Matter in Fort Worth and my newly adopted hometown. And do we have a picture of me with the Wades, Deneen and her family?
Oh, that was Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, and we
That
were
ain't
out there.
Dwayne Wade.
That ain't Dwayne Wade.
The Wade family. Deneen is her name, and they
Okay.
watch the show every day, and so I want
Wow.
to thank them for joining us. They are from Georgia, and so they came in and had this opportunity to meet them. All right, our last video. Do we have our last video? Leaving you guys on a good note. Let's take a look at this. This is a man who has a new pet. Say what? Okay. Did not print that. Thank you. All right, today's Yogi's Jewels.
Yogi's Jewels. Yogi's
Show gratitude to the universe for being
Yogi's
alive.
Jewels.
And this is for you, young Coy. Show gratitude to the universe for being alive. Smile. And now let's close out with this.
Cause your heart is breaking. Wow.
All right, shopping list: bread, milk, pasta, eggs, mayo, cocaine. Just kidding.
Let's play it again, please.
All right, shopping list: bread, milk, pasta, eggs, mayo, cocaine. Just kidding.
The dog's name is KC, by the way.
Oh my God.
Is it Casey or JoJo? What's the dog's name?
No, it's Trump Jr.
Okay.
He said cocaine. Did you see him?
Right. What?
He got a police dog.
Shit.
The dog's name is Richard Pryor.
Oh, no.
Oh,
No.
He don't like the police either.
oh,
Or
that's
cocaine.
blasphemous.
Corey's like, y'all didn't like my reboot idea. I'm burning this whole shit down.
I'm burning this. Fuck that.
I'm burning this whole show down.
That's one way to get the dog's
God
attention.
damn, bro. She just threw fertilizer at us with the Richard. That's blasphemous, bro.
Blasphemy.
Y'all trying to drown Casey and JoJo.
All right.
No.
Before I'd like to thank you guys. Thanks so much for sharing this week, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week. And thank you for the.
We don't know. We need to come back Monday, so we think we bad luck.
No, you're not. You're not. Trust me when I tell you. It's everybody gets this every day. There's something different there, Hug. So please, it's not you guys. I really appreciate you, Chris. You okay? I'm just asking,
good.
checking in. You okay?
I'm good.
Huggy, you good?
Soon as she asked me, "Am I good?" some shit go off. She got a peach cobbler in the fucking oven or some shit.
And
I want some
Coy,
peach
young
cobbler.
Coy, you good?
I want some
Yes.
peach cobbler too.
Okay, all right.
Chris,
Very
call
good.
me at 11:30, bro.
I will.
Bye, everybody.
on
Let's
me.
check in at 11:30.
Congratulations, Jake.
Please take this and take a look at this before we leave.
He can tell you about their first dance, but he can't remember my name. I'm his daughter.
Half of all black families are impacted by Alzheimer's, but we don't know why. At HSC, we are investing in a new research study to find solutions for your family. To join the research study, visit blackalzbrainstudy.com or call 817-735-2963.